Hi, my dearest friends. I'm going to share with you my recent unsuccessful story of life coaching someone from Russia. It took me several months to figure out what the real issue is. It was started from a young lady asking for spiritual assistance. She told me that she had some health issues. She didn't know exactly why, and the ongoing symptoms were chronic fatigue and depression, lack of energy, apathy, chronic grouchiness, moodiness. And she's a very talented person into creative arts. And whenever she was on the peak of her inspiration, she could create truly exquisite works of art. And now she lost interest in the arts and life in general. She asked me for a Balaspata session. I did for her a Balaspata session. She felt a temporary relief, and later, after a while, all symptoms came back. And she asked me what could be the reason why Balaspata was not so much effective. And she began to list her ideas of root causes, such as maybe it was some generational curse, maybe it was some past life issue, or childhood trauma, or other ideas available from internet spiritual literature. One of her favorite things to do was to browse internet in search of spiritual information. Some people knew only about 3 reasons for similar issues: past life issues, generational curses, and childhood traumas. Then I asked her to share with me more about her current life, her family, her habits, her lifestyle. Some people, when asking for help, just point at 1 or 2 symptoms out of context and expect comprehensive consultation. Oh, I feel a lack of energy. Can you recommend some spiritual practices for me to feel more inspired and energized? Or if a healer is a true healer, he should know our past, present, and future. And really, there are some black magic practitioners that have contracts with etheric entities that provide them with such information. Of course, in exchange for practitioners' life force. That's why most of them experience ongoing health issues and all kinds of issues. But they shock their clients by revealing their life secrets. And instead of providing assistance to them once and for all, they use those abilities to keep their clients forever. They turn them into devotees, and now they worship their psychic like a deity and book appointments after appointments after appointments for the rest of their lives. An entity is happy because he has his dinners guaranteed. A practitioner is happy because all he wants is money and he has his income guaranteed. And a client, now a devotee, is happy because he finally found his true guru. But did he get his problems solved? No, because it was not his goal to solve his problems. Now his goal was to find the true guru and to keep receiving exotic spiritual experiences. Usually everything in the client's life is getting worse and worse, but he can always return to his exotic guru, keep surprising him with his siddhis, spiritual powers, clairvoyance, psychic abilities, and client is enjoying his astral travels, sometimes astral sex, all kinds of demonic experiences. This is the extreme example of pure black magic in action that works through dark contracts. There are true healthy contracts that work for an ultimate best for all. They are based on healthy exchange of resources and never an energy exchange. Never give your energy to anyone. First of all, a true spiritual master and healer will never enter into a contract with a demonic being in exchange for receiving supernatural abilities or revelations, because he would have to pay with his energy, his life force. 3 parties involved, and all of them are losers. An entity can't progress in his evolution and doesn't learn to be his own energy source. A dark practitioner loses because he loses his life force. And a client loses his money and time receiving demonic entertainment in exchange, instead of reaching his goals, receiving his answers and solutions. We don't need to know other people's pasts, presents, and futures. First of all, because it will be a legitimate invasion into other people's personal space. And when we provide spiritual assistance to someone, we can ask questions and receive answers. We can communicate verbally. We don't want to try to guess things, prophesy things, or to play hide and seek. We want to have open, sincere communication. And if we ask for help, we provide the entire context for the issue that we deal with. And this lady started sharing some more information. And I found out that she lives with her boyfriend, who uses her as a dumpster to dump his inner garbage into her literally 24 hours a day, every day. And in addition to that, he has no job and no income. The lady's parents do very well financially, and her boyfriend is convinced that he doesn't have to work because he thinks he's eligible to have unlimited access to her family's wealth. But the lady's parents have different opinion on that. And this creates a great deal of tension between her and her family, which want him to leave their daughter alone or get a job like a real man. And here she is, living under constant grumpiness of her boyfriend, who's complaining day and night that she's not firm enough to demand unconditional and unlimited financial sponsorship for him. The lady takes temporary jobs from time to time, but it's not enough to provide for both of them for expensive living expenses in large Russian city. So this is what she had to start with. Her boyfriend, whom she lived with, didn't want to have a job, constantly grumbling, nagging, complaining, yelling, demanding, swearing, and cursing at her every day, 24 hours a day, literally vampiring her life force out of her. And she's innocently surprised why she feels a lack of energy. When I pointed her at her real issue, I received strong objection in response. And then she told me that the real reason for her condition, according to her, was a need for more effective spiritual practices and energy exercises, or more tools. Finally, she told me that after her interaction with me, she came to conclusions that Bilvaspata wasn't enough for her. She realized that she received a relation, that besides Bilvaspata, she also needs to work with Kivesta. 1 year passed since that, and as I know, nothing really changed in her life since she rejected my assistance. Because she still lives with her boyfriend, nothing changed in her boyfriend's life, and she can't expect any changes in her health situation until she acknowledges the real reason. Almine was personally involved in the situation, and she told her that she needs to present to him an ultimatum. Either he changes his attitude and finds a job immediately, or he needs to leave her immediately. She also rejected Almine and chose to rather live in her denial and ongoing misery. Now she's saying that we are weak healers, and she's in search of more powerful healers. Now, according to her, the reason why she didn't get help was that we didn't have enough power to heal her. But my concern is that her life gets worse and worse. Her health is deteriorating, but everything is in her hands. She can turn things around in a twinkle of a moment by just terminating this toxic relationship. And the sad thing is that currently, among 90% of relationships on Earth are toxic, dependent, or codependent relationships, which people prefer to stay with. One of the reasons why is that many of them are not even slightly aware that relationships can be toxic by their nature, if they're dependency or codependency based. Dependency is sucking of a life force over the donor. In this kind of relationship, there's 100% donor, 100% receiver. In codependency, both of them are donors and receivers of poisonous garbage that's being released in this triangle of I give, I want to control because I give, and I'm angry because you don't want me to control you. Manipulation and control are based on poisonous exchange by default. The way out is reaching a stage of complete 100% independence and self-sufficiency. You stand on both of your feet in life. You generate your own income. You live like you want to live. There is no one to please, no one to depend on. You don't emotionally, spiritually, and physically depend on what other people think and feel about you. You are not under pressure to change your lifestyle in order to please someone else. You do whatever you want to do with your life without looking around and see what other people think about you, how it affects their lives, their happiness, their well-being. We are here not to make other people happy. Everyone is 100% responsible for their own happiness and well-being. And if your lifestyle makes someone sad or angry or happy or unhappy, it's none of your business. And independence is not that you're a closed person. You're open for communications. But at this level, you will attract to you people of the same kind. Free, independent, and self-sufficient. And relationships here are not based on making each other happy or sad, but on equal exchange of information and resources. And those kinds of relationships are totally transparent and conscious. You are conscious of how much you contribute and how much you should receive in exchange. That's why we don't accept donations, because donation leaves the question open. What for? Someone wants to give me a donation, I must understand what I contributed into this person's life that equals this amount of exchange. And if I can see a perfect balance, then it's accepted. But if I clearly see that my contribution wasn't equal to this amount, or there was no contribution at all, I will not accept it. Because we understand that there's no such thing in the universe as something for nothing. Or I would offer this person a healing session or consultation, something in exchange, because it has to be equalized. Because we don't want to find ourselves in any kind of unequal relationships, because they definitely must imply dependence or codependence. Either we live in chronic financial need and someone offers us financial supply, and definitely without a shadow of a doubt, something will be expected in exchange. But the tricky thing is that the donor not always tells about it up front. Expect a surprise. And we don't want such surprises. I would ask him, what do you want from me? Tell me, and I will let you know if I can give it to you or not. And only after both parties reach agreement, all practical, financial, logistical parts of the deal can be played out, because now there's a complete clarity. And those kinds of relationships we call our next step after independence, interdependence, or networking. Networking. I have something valuable to offer you. You have something equally valuable to offer me in exchange. Then here's the deal. But why do some people still choose unequal relationships? Why do they choose to keep being poisoned by other people's emotional dependence and manipulation? Does this make sense? Relationships, as well as everything in our lives, must make sense to us. Otherwise, to keep them doesn't make sense. Especially allowing ourselves to be systematically bruised and beaten by others emotionally, and in some cases even physically. Are they mentally well? Is it possible that a spiritually and mentally healthy person consciously agrees to be beaten, injured, poisoned, and abused by someone else, especially on a continual basis? Or there's something wrong with spiritual and mental health? Are they still alive within? Are they awake? Or their souls are asleep or hypnotized? What's going on here? What should be the reason why some of us still keep others in our lives that use us as dumpsters to pile up their trash on us? And some of us even call it divine love and compassion. I was once witnessing a phone conversation of someone with his relative who called just needing some free ear to pour out his garbage into it. And it lasted over 2 hours. I was wondering why this person who received this call didn't just hang up after a couple of minutes of conversation when the purpose of a caller became crystal clear. Why don't we just hang up immediately and block such callers? If we keep them in their habits of feeding on other people's life force, then in such a way we block their opportunity to learn and evolve. And in such a way we go against nature of life. And what happens? A life begins to pummel our luminous cocoon until it cracks and we lose our physical life without any hope to ever regain our individualization. And this is the fate of those who choose to keep themselves in poisonous, dependent and codependent relationships. They go against life, and when we go against life, life goes against us. And the sad thing is that this can happen anytime when we least expect it to happen. It's better to tell you a bitter truth than sweet lies. And forget about the books by famous psychic mediums about summerlands, la-la lands, and happy transitions being welcomed by family and friends, etc. It's all New Age lies. We must tell you the truth because we can't be indifferent. Indifference is worse than murder. I can't say, oh, well, everyone is a god, the creator of his own reality. It's up to everyone's choice. We just need to think about ourselves and enjoy ourselves and enjoy our lives. They just get their experience. Imagine a house on fire, and you know there are people in the house. Maybe some of them are drunk and can't even feel what's going on. And would you grab them and push them out, burning house, to save their lives when it's still possible to save them? And there's no time to philosophize and analyze whether it's ethical, whether it's unconditional or conditional love, professionals, non-professional, spiritually correct, not spiritually correct, violating or not violating their free will. You see a person burning and you see that it's still within your ability to save him. You throw yourself to the fire and get them out of it. Whether or not you need to use force or violence, it doesn't matter. A life that's being saved. This matters. And that's why we will keep telling you the truth. Because truth and only truth can set us free. And this is the reason why we invite you to Surrogate Spirituality and to Empowerment Practical Intensive this upcoming Sunday, March 24th. And it will also be available as a recording if you can participate live. Please visit the product page, and we prepared a promo audio that gives more explanation of the issue that will be addressed during the intensive. And the most important, yes, you may say, you realize that you're participating in unequal toxic relationships. But how to exit them, how to prevent them in the future? The tricky thing is that some people live in those kinds of toxic relationships and are not even aware of it. You will find out how to identify toxic relationships, how to clearly see a difference between toxic and healthy relationships, and how to successfully exit toxic relationships, and how to never re-enter them again. The intensive will be 100% practical. We'll go through extremely advanced inner technologies that we'll learn together in collective alchemy of the event. And of course, they are for you to keep using them in your life. There are some key states of being that automatically repel even a shadow possibility of toxic relationships, and you will learn how to create them within yourself. As we found out through communications with our light family from all over the world, the dependent and codependent relationships are still an issue for the most of us. Not so many of us reach true independence, and not so many of us know how to build healthy networking relationships based on fair and equal exchange of information and resources, but never energy exchange. Emotional energy exchange. Emotion and energy, basically the same. Energy exchange happens only on dependent and codependent levels, and we are at risk of losing our lives and our luminous cocoons if we participate in energy exchange in dependent and codependent levels of relationships. Considering the seriousness of this issue, we offer a follow-up support for all participants of the intensive with no additional cost. For this purpose, a new Telegram group was just created, Almine International, for sole purpose of questions and answers and express life coaching for you. The only condition for participating in this group is that you should formulate your question in one sentence. And we will keep this group going for everyone who needs any spiritual assistance from Team Almine Russia. As we told you before, there are different levels of interactions in the area of private consultations, private coaching. We have 1 to 2 hour sessions for purchase. There's also a combined product, a consultation plus a personal sound elixir, and we still offer personal sound elixirs only. And starting from June this year, we'll offer you more options with private consultations, different levels of personal life coaching. More information about it will be released in June. But as we said and keep saying, friendship is and will always be for free. We don't charge and will never charge for brief questions and brief answers, interaction, exchange. But your questions or requests should be really brief. Only one sentence, only one sentence, please. During private consultation, we can go more in depth into your life situation. If your life situation demands more in-depth work, we can arrange that within a paid private consultation setting. We understand that it takes more concentration and spiritual effort to formulate the question briefly, only in one sentence. So whether you pay with your money or you can pay with your spiritual effort, both options count as a fair exchange. If you have a question or request for assistance, state it in one sentence and we'll reply in one sentence. Or sometimes we'll ask you a question, clarifying questions, if your statement, if your question is not clear enough. If you need more clarification, send us your next sentence and we'll reply with the next sentence and we'll communicate like this indefinitely, sentence for sentence mini sessions. One of the reasons is that I have a regular full-time job outside of Almine's Russian office. And there are hundreds of us, English-speaking, Russian-speaking, who need assistance. And we don't want anyone to be left out. Just because we have jobs, we don't have time, we don't work full-time as healers, teachers, and counselors, or office manager for Almine's office. I have to do it during my breaks at work or before or after work. And the briefer our communications will be, the more of us can be included in our communications. Even if some of us will have to wait for a while for our response, for obvious reasons. We also need to wait for our next available opportunity to talk to you, which is either lunch break or if the volume will be increasing, then obviously we respond on first come, first serve basis. The group is open. You can join at the link at t.me/Almine International. One word, Almine International, after slash. It's always a great joy for us to assist you. Talk to you soon.